Welcome to the official podcast series by POTENZA, where innovation meets insight. In this series, we dive deep into the world of SAP, explore the power of robotic process automation, and unlock the true potential of data analytics. Whether you're a tech enthusiast, a business leader, or just curious about the digital transformation shaping our world, you're in the right place. Tune in, stay curious, and let's explore the future of enterprise technology together. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on YouTube for more powerful insights. Now, let's get into today's episode.
All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a field that's, it's rapidly becoming non-negotiable for businesses. We're talking automation consulting in 2025.
A really hot topic.
Yeah, and we've been digging into the source material, specifically excerpts from an article called Automation Consulting, a strategic imperative for 2025.
Right.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to cut through the noise. We want to give you a clear, insightful shortcut.
Get right to the core of it.
Exactly. Understanding what this is, why it's so critical now, who benefits, how these consultants actually work, and what the future might hold.
And there are some genuinely surprising nuggets in there, particularly around the scale of impact.
Definitely. We'll get into those efficiency numbers later. So let's start with the basics. What the source material really underscores is that this isn't just simple automation anymore.
No, it's evolved way beyond that. It's not just about automating clicks. It's become a sophisticated strategic partnership. Yeah, focused on using technology for really significant organization-wide change.
Okay, so it's broader than finding a few repetitive tasks. The article makes it sound like a distinct field.
It is a specialized field where experts work with companies. Their main job is to strategically find the best opportunities, design the right solutions, and then implement automation that actually transforms those manual, often quite clunky processes into intelligent, self-executing workflows. That's the goal.
Intelligent and self-executing, that sounds like it needs more than just knowing one software tool.
Oh, absolutely. It's a much more comprehensive approach. Consultants start with the strategic assessments. They need to understand the business strategy first.
Not just the tech.
Exactly. Then they pinpoint where automation will have the biggest impact. And then they bring in the right technologies. Could be RPA, AI, machine learning, the whole toolkit.
And the key is connecting it back to the business.
That's crucial. Making sure these projects aren't just tech for tech's sake. They have to align deeply with the company's strategy and drive measurable improvements. Things like those big efficiency gains and cost reductions the source talks about.
Right. That phrase strategic imperative really hits home then. Which brings us to why 2025? Why is it so critical right now?
Well, the pressure on businesses today is just immense, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're constantly pushed to optimize operations just to keep up, let alone get ahead. Plus, they're juggling complex regulations.
Always changing.
And customer expectations that just keep rising. The source points out specific sectors where this is really acute.
Like banking.
Exactly. Banking needs it for compliance, fraud detection, speeding up onboarding. Insurance, too, claims processing, underwriting, policy management.
And manufacturing.
Yep. The automobile industry is another big one. Manufacturing lines, supply chains, quality control automation is transforming all of it.
So these industry-specific pressures are really driving the need. And companies often lack the internal expertise to handle this tech complexity alone.
Precisely. Navigating that complex web of technologies, integrating everything properly, building sustainable advantages during these intense digital transformations, that's where the consultants are vital.
Right.
Most organizations just don't have the specialized resources in-house to manage all that simultaneously. The tech changes too fast.
Okay, let's talk tangible benefits. The source threw out some numbers that really make you pay attention. First up, operational efficiency.
Yeah, this is often where you see the impact first. Automation just slashes bottlenecks, cuts errors, and drastically reduces processing times.
And the number mentioned was?
A staggering 60–80% reduction in process completion times, according to the source.
Wow, 60 to 80%.
Think about what that does for speed, for capacity. And good consulting ensures these aren't just one-off fixes, but sustainable, scalable gains.
That's not just tweaking, that's fundamental change. What about the money side? Cost reduction?
Another huge driver. The source claims organizations can see a 25–40% reduction in operational expenses, sometimes even within the first year.
That quickly? How?
Consultants focus the automation efforts on the processes with the highest impact, optimizing how resources are used. It's all about delivering a clear, measurable ROI, getting the most value.
And for those regulated industries you mentioned, banking, insurance, accuracy and compliance must be paramount.
Absolutely critical. Automation removes the human error factor from repetitive tasks. That means consistent execution, which is gold in regulated sectors. It helps maintain compliance, reduces audit headaches.
There's a lot of potential trouble.
Definitely. And finally, there's the idea of building a foundation for growth.
How does automation help there?
Well, it helps build scalable infrastructure.
Yeah.
Businesses can grow their operations without their costs growing at the same rate.
Right.
The solutions are designed to be flexible, to adapt to changing volumes or new requirements. That makes the productivity cane stick for the long term.
So who in the organization is usually bringing these consultants in? The article mentioned a few key roles.
It did. Tech leaders, like your CTOs or VPs of IT, get a lot out of it. They get access to specialized expertise they probably don't have internally.
Helps them choose platforms, plan integration.
Exactly. Evaluate platforms, design how new tech fits with the old stuff, ensure the tech roadmap aligns with business goals.
Makes sense. And higher up, the C-suite.
CEOs, COOs. They look to consultants for the bigger picture. Guidance on organization-wide transformation.
Strategic investments, risk.
Yep. Where to invest strategically, how to manage the risks of big changes, and, really importantly, how to handle the people side, the change management needed for successful adoption.
Okay. And the people managing the day-to-day, operations directors.
Oh, they see very practical benefits. They get detailed analysis of their workflows, concrete recommendations for making things better.
Finding the bottlenecks.
Right. Consultants help them spot the high-impact opportunities in their areas and then implement solutions that directly improve their performance metrics. It's very tangible for them.
Let's dig into the technology itself a bit more. The source really stresses that automation in 2025 is, well, it's smarter than maybe people realize.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's moved way beyond just basic, rule-based bots doing simple tasks. Now we're talking about intelligent systems.
Intelligent how?
Systems that can adapt, learn from data, make decisions based on complex patterns. This includes something called cognitive automation.
Cognitive automation.
Yeah, that's where systems can handle unstructured data, think emails, documents, understand natural language, and make more sophisticated judgments.
Okay, so it's not just following rules, it's understanding context and choosing actions. What are the main types of this advanced automation the article calls out?
It breaks it down into three main types consultants work with now. First is intelligent process automation, or IPA. Right. That basically combines the familiar RPA, robotic process automation, with AI. This lets it handle more complex processes that need, judgment calls or dealing with unexpected situations, exceptions.
Got it. RPA plus AI smarts. What's the next level?
Second is cognitive automation, which we touched on. It uses technologies like natural language processing, NLP, that's understanding human language.
Like chatbots, but more advanced.
Yeah, exactly. Or analyzing documents. And machine learning, so it can analyze unstructured data, handle customer interactions more intelligently, derive insights.
Okay. And the most advanced type mentioned.
That's hyperautomation. This is really the cutting edge. It integrates multiple automation technologies, RPA, AI, ML, maybe process mining tools, analytics, all working together.
To do what?
To create truly end-to-end automated workflows that can span across different departments, different systems. It's complex. And the source notes, it really requires that sophisticated consulting expertise to design and implement effectively.
So what are the key tech building blocks that enable all this?
Well, modern automation often relies on cloud-native platform software built for the cloud, basically, very scalable.
Right.
Then you've got API integration, those connectors that let different software systems talk to each other smoothly. Advanced analytics are crucial for tracking performance.
And the AI components.
Machine learning is used for continuous optimization. The system learns and gets better. Actual AI handles the more complex decision-making. You also need robust data integration platforms to pull data together, and absolutely critical are strong security frameworks.
Security, yeah. Can't forget that.
Data protection, compliance is fundamental.
Given all these moving parts, integrating everything, what are the typical roadblocks companies hit?
The article highlights a few common ones. Integrating with legacy systems, those older systems not built for this, is often a big challenge.
Makes sense.
Data quality is another frequent issue. Automation needs good, clean data to work well. And then there's the human element, change management resistance.
People being wary of new systems?
Exactly. People can be hesitant. Good automation consulting anticipates and addresses these issues directly, using specific frameworks and methodologies.
Okay, let's clarify the consultant's role then. What do they actually do day to day? It's more than just recommending tech, right?
Oh, much more. There are strategic advisors first. They assess the organization's readiness, find the best automation opportunities. Then they design the detailed roadmaps how to actually get there and deliver business value.
So strategy and planning?
Yes, but also deep technical expertise, meticulous process analysis, really understanding how work gets done now, and crucially, navigating the people side with change management. They dig into workflows, find inefficiencies, and design custom tech solutions.
That mix of tech, process, and people skills sounds vital. What specific skills does the article say they need?
It's a pretty broad set. Technical skills, obviously RPA, AI, integration, know-how, but just as vital are things like strong business acumen, solid project management skills.
Understanding the business context.
Exactly. Knowing industry regulations, having sharp analytical skills for process mapping, great communication skills to talk to everyone from the CEO down, and significant change management expertise.
How is this different from, say, a traditional management consultant looking at processes?
That's a really important distinction. A traditional consultant might analyze a process and suggest, reorganizing teams or changing manual steps.
Right.
An automation consultant looks at that same process, but their lens is specifically, where can technology perform these steps automatically? They don't just recommend changes. They design, build, and oversee the implementation of the tech solutions that make it happen.
So they're implementers, too, in this specific space.
Precisely. Implementers and advisors focused on technology-driven transformation.
That clears it up. Okay, let's walk through the typical process. How does an engagement usually play out?
It almost always starts with a comprehensive assessment and analysis phase. Deep dive time.
Understanding the current situation.
Exactly. Evaluating current processes, existing tech, organizational readiness. They analyze workflow complexity, data sources, integration needs.
And potential ROI.
Yes, includes evaluating potential ROI, implementation complexity, and what kind of change management effort will be needed. This phase sets the baseline and defines what success looks like.
Okay, baseline established. What's next?
That leads to strategic automation identification. Based on that analysis, they use specific methods to pinpoint processes with the highest potential return.
High volume, clear rules, cost savings.
Things like that. High volume, repetitive, rule-based tasks are often good candidates, but also areas with high potential for cost reduction or efficiency gains. They prioritize based on feasibility, value, and how ready the organization is.
Then comes the planning.
Right, the automation strategy design phase. This is where they create the detailed roadmap.
Choosing the tech, scheduling deployment.
Yep. Selecting technologies, planning integration, setting the deployment schedule, and critically, ensuring this automation strategy fits snugly within the broader business and digital transformation strategy. It also includes planning for risks, setting up monitoring, and ensuring scalability.
And then the actual build and rollout.
Implementation and rigorous testing. They use structured approaches to minimize disruption during deployment and integration. Then comes thorough testing.
What kind of testing?
Multiple levels. Unit testing individual components, integration testing to make sure systems work together, and user acceptance testing, or UAT, where actual users validate it meets their needs.
And it's not over once the switch is flipped.
Definitely not. The final steps are crucial. Comprehensive training and ongoing support.
Getting people comfortable with the new system.
Exactly. Training users, providing documentation, support materials, and then ongoing support means monitoring the automated processes, optimizing them based on data and feedback, and making enhancements over time to keep delivering value.
Let's touch on the specific tools. The source mentioned RPA platforms have evolved quite a bit.
They really have. Modern RPA platforms are much more sophisticated. They have better visual development tools, making them easier to use, robust security features, and increasingly built-in AI capabilities.
AI for what specifically?
For handling more complex decisions within a process, or dealing with exceptions gracefully. They're also designed to integrate much more easily with other enterprise systems now.
And AI gets integrated directly into workflows, too.
Absolutely. AI is used for those cognitive tasks, analyzing documents, understanding customer emails, making complex data-driven decisions that simple rules can't handle.
And machine learning.
ML often works behind the scenes for continuous optimization, learning how the process runs and suggesting ways to make it even more efficient. And NLP, natural language processing, is key for handling text and speech.
Data insights seem crucial for that optimization loop.
Totally. Advanced analytics platforms provide the visibility needed to see how automation is performing, identify bottlenecks, and find new opportunities. The source also mentions IoT integration.
Internet of Things.
Yeah, especially in industries like manufacturing, using real-time data from sensors on machines to optimize production, predict maintenance needs, things like that.
Okay, implementing all this sounds complex, not just technically but organizationally. What best practices does the article suggest for success?
Stakeholder collaboration is huge. Continuous engagement across the board.
Getting everyone involved and on board.
Yes. Establishing clear governance, managing expectations, keeping communication lines open with regular feedback, and effective change management is absolutely vital for adoption. It's as much about the people as the tech.
So people and process are key. And once it's up and running,
Continuous monitoring and optimization. You need frameworks to track performance, spot issues, look for improvements, make sure those service level agreements are met. Success isn't a one-time thing. It requires ongoing effort based on data.
and good documentation for the long haul.
Critically important. Thorough documentation ensures knowledge transfer, makes maintenance easier. Process docs, technical specs, user guides, they're all essential so everyone understands how things work, the benefits, the limitations.
And the big one,
Security, non-negotiable. Data security and privacy protection have to be built in from the start. Robust access controls, encryption, detailed audit trails. Consultants must ensure compliance with all relevant regulations like GDPR or CCPA.
protecting the data.
Things like anonymization where needed, secure data transfer, comprehensive auditing. It's all part of the package.
The article dove deeper into some industry examples. Let's revisit banking. What are some specific applications there?
Yeah, in banking, it's transforming core stuff, streamlining customer onboarding, making loan processing much faster, improving continuous compliance monitoring.
Fraud detection.
Real-time fraud detection is a big one. Automated reporting, faster customer service. And it's key for tackling the integration challenges with older core banking systems while meeting strict regulations.
How about insurance? What's the impact there?
Insurance is using it heavily too. Optimizing claims processing, making it faster and cheaper. Improving underwriting accuracy using better data analysis. Streamlining policy administration.
Faster payouts, better risk assessment.
Exactly. AI is playing a bigger role in predictive risk analysis, spotting fraud patterns, optimizing pricing based on really granular data.
And let's go back to the auto industry one more time.
Right. For car manufacturers and their suppliers, it's optimizing production lines, making supply chains more efficient, ensuring tighter quality control.
Like monitoring machines.
Real-time monitoring, predictive maintenance to prevent breakdowns, automated quality checks using things like machine vision. It often involves deep integration with factory systems, MES, and leveraging IoT sensor data.
Thinking about the investment required, budgets must look very different for a small business versus a huge enterprise.
Oh, absolutely. The article suggests for SMEs, a phased approach often makes sense.
Start small.
Yeah, start with processes that offer high impact but are less complex to automate. Focus on quick wins. Build confidence, show value, maybe secure funding for more. Cloud platforms can also be more cost-effective entry points for SMEs.
Consulting helps them pick the right starting point.
Right. Identify the low-hanging fruit and choose affordable, appropriate tech.
And for the big players, the enterprises.
They usually undertake much larger, comprehensive programs, spanning multiple departments, sometimes the whole organization.
More complex project.
Much more. Requires sophisticated project and change management, complex integrations. The consulting investment is higher, often including strategic architecture design and detailed program planning.
But regardless of size, ROI is always the goal.
Always. Optimizing ROI is central. Consultants help select opportunities and design solutions specifically to deliver measurable value cost savings, revenue growth, better customer experience, whatever the goal is.
And tracking that value.
Ongoing monitoring is key to ensuring the expected value actually materializes and continues over time. Budgets need to account for implementation, yes, but also ongoing costs like maintenance and future upgrades.
So how do you actually measure if an automation consulting project was successful?
Measurement is fundamental. You track efficiency improvements, cost reductions, overall business value delivered, using predefined metrics and KPIs.
Setting a baseline first.
Crucial. Establish baseline metrics before you start, then set up systems to monitor progress against those goals.
What kind of metrics are we talking about?
It's usually a mix.
Yeah.
Operational metrics like reduced cycle time, lower error rates, cost save per transaction, and strategic metrics like improved customer satisfaction scores, faster time to market, maybe even gains in market share.
Looking forward now, what are the big trends shaping the future of this field?
Well, the continued advancement of AI is huge. expanding integration possibilities connecting more and more systems, and the basic business need for more agility, more responsiveness.
New technologies on the horizon.
The source points to things like more advanced machine learning, more sophisticated NLP, maybe even quantum computing down the line, opening up entirely new automation possibilities.
How does that change the consultant's job?
The article suggests a future focus on systems that aren't just automated, but adaptive and self-optimizing.
Meaning?
Systems that can learn and react to changing conditions, tweak themselves with minimal human input. So consultants will need to master these new techs, but also double down on that core expertise in process design and especially change management, the human side.
So, yeah, to kind of wrap things up, automation consulting really isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's becoming essential to compete effectively.
Right. It's this blend of cutting-edge tech, deep expertise, and proven methods, all aimed at delivering real results. Efficiency, cost savings, operational excellence.
And as the technology keeps evolving and business needs get more complex, the strategic value of these consultants is only going to increase, Investing in this now seems like it positions companies not just to fix current issues, but really to be ready for whatever comes next technologically, stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. But success really hinges on choosing the right partner. Someone with proven expertise who understands your industry and can actually deliver those concrete results.
So we've really seen how automation consulting is much more than automating simple tasks. It's a strategic partnership using advanced tech to fundamentally transform businesses.
We've covered the huge potential benefits, who really gains, the sophisticated tech involved, the step-by-step process, and those crucial best practices for making it work.
We looked at how it's reshaping key industries, banking, insurance, auto, and how businesses of all sizes can approach it, always focusing on measurable outcomes.
Yeah, and looking ahead, that idea from the article about adaptive, self-optimizing systems is pretty fascinating.
It really is. It raises that profound question. What happens to the human role when processes can literally improve themselves?
Right.
How does that shift the kind of expertise needed, moving maybe from doing the tasks to overseeing, guiding, innovating alongside these intelligent systems?
That's a fundamental shift, isn't it? A different relationship between people and technology.
Definitely something to chew on as you think about how these technologies might impact your own world. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into automation consulting in 2025.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the POTENZA podcast series, where we decode SAP, automate with RPA, and analyze with precision. We hope you found today's conversation insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the technologies transforming tomorrow's enterprise. Got questions or ideas for a future episode? Drop them in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time. Thank you.